Hello, everybody. Welcome to Gregsbeerreviews. Let's go see what's in the fridge today. Hey guys, thanks for stopping by Gregsbeerreviews today. Today's beer comes from, this is Narragansett. I may have butchered that up. These are done up in New England. This is from, says brewed and bottled by Buzzards Bay Brewing, Westport, Massachusetts. For Narragansett Brewing out of Providence, Rhode Island. And this is their private stock Imperial IPA, and it comes in an alcohol of 8.6% ABV. Don't see any dating on the label, even though it's an Imperial IPA and it's not going to go bad. I don't know if the hops have faded. We'll look at the bottle, but I don't know if it has any kind of dating on it. And like I told you guys on the earlier beer reviews, we're cleaning out the fridges of all the beers, especially the IPAs, the double IPAs that don't have any kind of date on them. I usually don't try to cellar any of those. This one got pushed back. I think I bought this one down at Total Wine in North Carolina when I went down there a couple of months ago. So we're going to get it done and get it out of there and see if it's any good, see if it's worthy. Good friend of mine, Jeff, that does beer reviews up in New England, really likes their beer. So I'm hoping this is going to be a good one too. So let's see what we got on this one. It says American Double Imperial IPA. It says limited release. It was brewed one time. So, and I don't know what that time was. Commercial description on this beer. Says the Imperial IPA was crafted with the best of American and German ingredients as a nod to the original 6 German-American founders of Narragansett. Summit hops were used for all the kettle hopping, and a mix of northern brewers, Hallertau and Tettnanger, and Saaz hops were used for dry hopping, resulting in an IBU of 122. This may be on the bitter side even for a double IPA with that much IBUs. To celebrate 122 years of Narragansett history. So these guys have been brewing beer for a long time. I'm really surprised that they're having somebody else do it for them if they've been doing it that long. So Jeff may be able to enlighten us on a little bit of history on that. And you might want to check out his beer reviews too. All you guys that follow me probably know of him. He does a lot of New England beer reviews since he's up there on in that part of the country. So I don't think there's anything else we need to talk about here. Let's see what the food pairings are for this beer. It says here it's going to be your typical cuisine, which is barbecue. The cheeses are peppery, Monterey, pepper jack, sharp, blue, cheddar. Your more pungent cheeses, Gorgonzola, Limburger, and the meat is game, grilled meat, and salmon. Glassware, the snifter, tulip, oversized wine glass. I brought the pint glass, but I could just as easily go grab the Duvel glass for this one, and I may just do that before we get carried away on this one. And it says here the beer can be cellared for extended periods under the proper conditions, but like I tell you guys, the IPAs, even though they're big alcohol, you're going to lose that big in-your-face hot profile. So let me go grab the Duvel glass, and we'll come back and we'll pour that beer into that. Alright, now that we got the correct glass, let's get the cap off of this bad boy. And I'm hoping it's not a beer that was done several years ago. It didn't have a big hiss, which I was expecting, if it was an older beer, to have a bigger hiss than that. So let's see what we got. Alright, Didn't get down to the bottom with this 22-ounce bomber here, so it may be a little more cloudier than this once we get down to the bottom. This one is it's like a burnt orange color. I can see the bulb right through it. And once I pour the other half so you can drink it, I'll let you know how much cloudier that it gets when we come back. Looks very good. Like I said, it is a burnt orange color. A lot of small bubbles streaming up on this one. And even with that semi-aggressive pour, it didn't produce a large hit, so I would say it is definitely not overcarbonated. We probably got about a half a finger of head, and it is dissipated basically already, just covering the top of the beer. So let's get a nose on it. Big malt backbone on this one. I'm not getting a lot of in-your-face hops, so it leads me to believe this is an older beer. Getting a little bit of the alcohol on it too. The hops, I mean, it's not a piney, in-your-face type of hops. I've got a feeling they faded over time. It does have a hop presence, but it's not super strong. And since they use some of the Summit hops are more of the American hops, but the Tetanang and the Siles hops are the more European style. It doesn't smell bad in glass. It smells very good. It just doesn't have that in-your-face hot profile that most of your fresher IPAs and double IPAs have, especially over here in America. Now, the English style doesn't have that super hot, pungent smell usually. They're a little more subdued because of the hops they use over there. Smells citrusy, earthy, and herbal. I mean, that's the hot profile I'm getting on the nose. So let's give it a taste and see what we got. Cheers, everybody. Whoa. Definitely bitter. Big IBUs on this beer. Big IBUs for an 8.6% beer. I mean, they've used enough bittering hops for a 10% beer on this, I believe. If you like a bitter IPA, this will be the one. Doesn't have enough sweetness. It doesn't taste balanced to me now. Definitely get the alcohol. A little citrusy, a little orangey, very bitter. Well, maybe it'll subside a little bit once we sip on it and let it warm up a little bit. Not really super impressed right now on this. But like I said, I don't know how long it's been in the bottle. I like my IPAs, it's pretty fresh. I mean, the fresher you get them, the more hop aroma and the hop taste you're going to get out of it. Especially with all the different hops they used in this one. I mean, they used 5 or 6 different hop varieties in that. But they must have used a bunch of them in the bittering process because it has got 122 IBUs. Wow. I know of some 10, 11, 12% beers that don't have that IBU. So definitely has a bitter back end, guys. So let's let it warm up just a little bit. I'm not going to let it warm up a whole lot, maybe 20, 30 minutes. And we'll come back and do the final chug on this one. Alright guys, I'm back. Got just a little left. This is a decent brew. I mean, don't have any idea when it was put in the bottle. You may be able to go to their website and it'll tell you when exactly this was done. So this is a done once only beer. But I checked the bottle. There's no dating on the bottle. I guess they kind of figure since they only do it once, they don't need to date it. But with that being said, I probably won't be buying any more in Narragansett beer just because they are undated. I've got a new rule going on 2014. If you don't have a date on your bottle, this guy's not going to buy it. So let's do the final chug. To me, either I've got used to it as I was drinking it. It doesn't seem quite as bitter as it did when I first poured it. It has calmed down just a little bit. It's still bitter, but it's not quite as bitter. So either I've adjusted to it as I've drank it. It's a decent beer. I mean, it is a decent beer. I really wish I knew when it was put in the bottle before I bought it. And like I said, come 2014, if it don't have a date on it, it's going to sit on the shelf for some other sucker to come along and buy it, because this guy's not going to purchase it. A little tropical notes in there, maybe a little bit of grapefruit, oranges. It's mostly floral and herbal hops in it. Definitely on the bitter side, but it's a double. It's supposed to be a little on the bitter side, but 122 IBUs. That's extreme bitterness as far as I'm concerned. Now, that's on the verge of being the maximum that the human palate can detect. I mean, you can have 300 IBUs, and I don't know if it would taste any more bitter than 122 would taste. So decent, but I wish it had a date on it. Even though it's an Imperial, need to have a date on it when it was put in the bottle. That way you know. Because I really don't like to cellar these bigger beers, even though they are big beers. I like my IPAs and double IPAs kind of fresh. Unless I'm purchasing 2 or 3 bottles and it's kind of boozy or some other reason, I really don't like to cellar them that long. So another reason why it come out of the fridge now when it did, we're going to try to get all of them out of there by the end of the year. Oh, we're in December already too, so down on the wire here. We're going to try to get them all cleaned out here in the next 30 days and start off fresh in 2014 with dated beers or Imperial stouts and stuff like that. That really is not that critical. Yeah, IPAs are kind of critical because the hops will fade over time. I got a feeling this beer, if you got your hands, or if I got my hands on this beer a week or two after it was put in the bottle, it would probably be a little more tastier than it is, guys. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and give this a 7, which is a B+. I don't think it's quite to the A category because of the dating. It may have got an A- if it had a date on it. And you know, if you're in the store, you're not going to, a lot of people are going to check the website to see when it's dated. I mean, those are basically a lot of impulse buying. You see it, I haven't had that, or say, let me try that, and you pick it up. You know, or you may even look at the bottle just to see if it has any kind of dating on it. That's what I'm going to be doing come January 1st. See if it has a kind of date on it, especially on the IPAs and your double IPAs. If it don't have a date on it, I'm going to set it right back up on the shelf, and it'll sit there for some other sucker to come along and purchase the beer. So I'm not going to be buying them. So if you want your beer reviewed on Gregsbeerreviews, I know that might not hurt a lot of people's feelings, but it is what it is. I have a lot of subscribers, reaching up to the 10,000 subscriber mark now, so a lot of people watch and agree with some of the stuff that I say. A lot of people don't. I mean, but it is what it is. Beer is subjective. So with that being said, I'm not going to ramble on too much more about that. We'll go over to Beer Advocate first, and Beer Advocate says it's 80, which is in their good range, and I agree with that. It is a good beer, but I think it could be better if it had a date on it. You know how fresh it is. And over to Rate Beer. Rate Beer says overall 81, and in the style 30. Whoa, they cut somebody's throat there. 30 in the style, so they are definitely not agreeing with the beer style there. So I kind of disagree with that. I mean, it does fit the style in my opinion, but it's a little on the bitter side. But I would not go down to 30 in the style. So I disagree with that. 81 overall, yeah, that's a little low for a B. That's down almost into the B- category. So maybe I'm a little generous on this, but it was decent. It was okay. Glad I got to try it, but I don't think I would purchase it again unless I had a date on it. So if you've had this beer, guys, give me some comments back on this one, whether you liked it or didn't like it. As always, hit that like button, rate, comment, subscribe, and maybe we'll find a beer with a date on it tomorrow. Join me then. We'll see.